let's talk about duty drawback. We've imported these goods. We're not getting an exclusion. We tried, our product got denied. You're importing these things, but you're turning around and you export half of it just in the normal course of your business. And we start to look at, man, I just spent all this money. What can I get back? How does that work?
So it's fairly straightforward. You cannot claim drawback on 232 duties. They won't give them to you, but you can on 301. So if you bring in a product from China, you don't use it or you don't use all of it, and you send it back out, you can reclaim that duty you paid when it came in. Unfortunately, you can't do that with 232. They've just said they're not going to process those claims.
Right, and if I believe I'm correct, I saw a statement the other day that said it's the first time in history that there's been any kind of announcement like that removed the privilege of drawback for anything
That's interesting.
that was imported that then was subsequently exported after manufacturing or anything else like that was done. When do you think it's beneficial? And I really think that comes down to the conversation of the individual business decision, right? Just like you talked about with the foreign trade agreements. When does do you have a number in your head? We kind of pass out one, so I was just curious if you pass out a number that said at some point this program becomes beneficial and then exponentially beneficial, but at what point is do you have a number in your head that says if you're not getting this much back, it's maybe not worth going through it all?
On drawback?
Yeah.
No, it's the same thing. I don't really have a number there. I wish I did. It'd be a little simpler, but it's really a company by company thing. Drawback, to the extent that you're already importing and exporting, you have the documents you need, or you should have the documents you need to make these claims.
Right.
Which is a little different than a foreign trade agreement. Because in a foreign trade agreement, you might have to get that manufacturing facility to start making records they might not otherwise make. Drawback, you've got to import and you've got to export them. That creates a paper trail, which is a large part of what you need. You also need some inventory records, which you may already keep. But drawback's a little simpler to set up. So I think the number would be a little lower. But just keep in mind that the bigger your drawback program, the more money you're getting back, the more work that needs to go into it. So those are two kind of dueling considerations you have to make when you're thinking about a drawback program.
Right. And with drawback, there is going for, sending in the application for privileges, to potentially get away from some of that, all as much paperwork as required as far as just protecting that export with the 53 and then filing the claim thereafter. So, with 301, we've seen a lot of folks come to us and say, hey, I used to export this. It was maybe 20, 30 grand a year worth of duties. Now we're looking at 400,000 a year. We want to go after that. And so a couple of points there is that you can only get up to 99% of those fees back. The government's going to keep one just for holding on to your money and then processing the claim back to you. So just know that going in, and then you start to look at, are you paying outside assistance to handle that, whether it's counsel, broker, a lot of times those are charged at, sometimes they're charged at percentages of the amount of money that's able to be returned. Sometimes there's flat fees involved. And so, make sure you kind of work through that program with whoever you're going to use and really understand the amount that you're going to get back. And it's not as simple as just saying, well, I know I imported this stuff last year and I turned around and I exported it. It is more involved in that. I do think it's records that you would keep in the ordinary course of business. But I think where we see a lot of people start to miss on this is they're not really looking to tie the import record back out to the export record, right? They're just saying, yeah, I know I imported this product sometime last year. I don't even necessarily know what entry it came in on, and now I exported it. And I think that's where we see a lot of people maybe start to fall down on their ability to get into and really start to recover and use this program well.